is a little video just to show the mechanics of the pelvis. So you will remember that we spoke about the importance of the pelvis being able to move and the pelvis being in sort of upright and forward positions. The hormone that we talked about, relaxin, if we pretend that these bolts are representative of the relaxin hormone, so let me tighten them first actually, because when you're not pregnant, so for example with me, I'm not pregnant, I haven't got much relaxin in my body, so my pelvis would move a little bit, but not a huge amount. When the relaxin hormone is released during pregnancy, by slackening off these bolts on the pelvis, your pelvis as the pregnant woman is going to have a lot more mobility, which is really, really helpful for labour and birth, because it helps make this pelvic outlet a lot bigger, up to about 25% bigger if we adopt really good positions like upright and forwards. Perhaps sometimes not so good, because sometimes the relaxin hormone works so well, as it were, that you can get kind of for some women they get pelvic girdle pain, sometimes it's called, or pubic symphysis pain, and that's because of the relaxin hormone kind of loosening all this up sort of a bit too much really. But it's, as we said, it's really good for the purposes of the baby coming through. So if we look at the mechanics of the baby coming through, and again, just to reiterate the importance of having the pelvis, if you can, in a more upright or forward position, it just means that this sacrum is able to move out of the way, whereas if you're on the floor, lying on the floor or lying on a bed, then the pelvis is going to push into the bed or onto the floor, and this sacrum has got nowhere to move really, and the coccyx kind of comes up, so the baby is sort of pushing uphill, as it were. Whereas if you're more upright or forward, this sacrum can move out of the way, and a real coccyx can do this, like my thumb, so it can flick right back out of the way to make more room for the baby to come through. And in terms of the baby coming through the pelvis, he or she is going to be really nicely tucked up like this. Most babies are in this position when they enter the pelvis, so their back is usually on your left side, and you could kind of, midwives might be able to palpate here and feel the baby's back here. And what happens with the second stage pushing contractions, the uterus muscle is pushing on the top of the baby's bottom and pushing the baby further and further and further down into the pelvis, like this. And then when your baby's head comes onto your pelvic floor, which is shaped like a valley, like this, your baby's head, if my hand was the baby's head now for a second, your baby's head sort of gets purchase on the pelvic floor and makes a turn, a quarter turn. So their head does this and makes a quarter turn on the pelvic floor. More pushing from the top of the uterus here, and the baby's head comes through. And that's very easy for me to demonstrate with a model pelvis on a model doll and say, oh, more pushing and the baby's head comes through. In reality, you know, for many women it's going to be hard work, that pushing, like pushing into your bottom as if you're doing a poo, as your baby's head kind of comes around the pubic arch. When your baby's head is through, he or she will do this thing called restitution, where they turn their head to face the way they were presenting when they first came into the pelvis. And the reason they do that, if you turn your head over your shoulder and keep turning it, this shoulder then has to release and follow. And that's why your baby has a blueprint to turn their head so that your shoulder follows. And also the pelvic floor is shaped such that it helps your baby's shoulders rotate. So basically that's what it is. That head movement and the pelvic floor being shaped as it is enables the shoulders to rotate in the pelvis. And then with the next push, so the shoulders come through and the rest of the baby comes through, and then your baby comes here for skin to skin. Still attached, remember, to the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is usually around 75 centimetres long. It's designed to go from the vagina to the breast. Your baby might then be here, kind of snuffling around, recognising your smell, might try and feed, might try and lift their head a little bit to look at you, might just be quite content just to lay there, but that skin to skin, as we'll talk about in another session, is all really, really important in terms of bonding, in terms of colonising your baby with all of your good flora and fauna, all your good bacteria. Really, really good for helping them with their body temperature, because here on your chest, this is just a couple of degrees warmer than the rest of your body, so it's like a little natural sort of hot water bottle for them that helps them regulate their body temperature, and can help regulate their breathing and their autonomic nervous system. Yeah, I hope that was a good enough demonstration of the mechanics of birth and how the pelvis is designed to accommodate the baby coming through, especially if we remember those upward and forward positions, enabling this outlet to be as large as possible for the baby to come through.